I called it the biggest team up ever. Like before there was Marvel and Disney, there was Pixar and Disney in the 90s, and they both introduced the movie Toy Story. I feel like since that moment, since that inception, since Toy Story, Pixar and Disney do not miss. They keep hitting shots after shots after shots, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, just rolling it. And every movie they come out with always gets better and better and better. And this movie is no different. 2017's Coco is a movie that's beautifully done. Artistically, it's amazing. The story is pretty dang good. The voice acting is pretty good. Like everything about the movie is done so well. The only thing that holds it back to me, I'm gonna break it down this episode, is that it is a Disney movie and that we've seen these things over and over again. But does it hurt my review of it? I guess we'll have to find that out on this episode of Movie Breakdowns. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And what is Movie Breakdowns? It's a movie review series where we look at new and old movies. Give them a grade A through F. Plus and minuses do count. And if there's a movie you want me to review, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I'll get to it as best I can. Also, I have a Patreon. Patreon/Ali Zakka. And on Patreon, you get movies first come, first serve. We ask for a review. You also get the movies reviewed before they come out on Facebook and YouTube months ahead of time. And you also get first thoughts on movies, get trailer reactions, trailer reviews, and many more stuff. So I have a Patreon, sign up for it, and when you pay for my services, I deliver. Now, let's go ahead and get into 2017's Coco. First thoughts. This movie is great. Pixar hits another one. I swear they don't miss. I cannot think of a bad Pixar movie. Pixar and Disney movie, I should say. Now, Disney by itself, look at the Pirates of the Caribbean series. I love Pirates of the Caribbean 1, but they got some drop balls in there.
Someone make a note of that man's bravery.
And then there are other movies where they're just like, they got some drop balls in there. But when Disney and Pixar teams up, they know how to deliver. And Coco is one of those movies that make you feel, make you get attached to characters, make you like, man, this is a really good movie. Look at the design, look at the artwork, look at the music, look at the background, everything about it, the way a character moves and design of a character move, it's all in motion. It all makes, like, it's designed so well, even like characters with like hair or like a character with like a dress on, the dress moves a certain way, like how a real person would move in their dress. Like that is just top notch. This movie is top notch. I really, the only thing that got me is just, it's a Disney movie, so there's the tropes you see in Coco, you seen in other Disney movies prior to it. Like the movie came out in 2017, so Disney can only they can only do so much when it comes to delivering a story. They're gonna go back to the well on a few things, and Coco does go back into the well on a few things. There's things in this movie where I'm like, saw that coming. You got me there. You got me there, but also saw this coming. And this is a spoiler review, guys. Like, the movie came out in 2017, so I'm gonna spoil it. You haven't seen it, but my first time I watched it was just I guess I should say a few weeks ago when this review comes out. But at the time of this review in present day, I just watched it like 2 days ago for the first time ever, and I'm like blown away because Disney and Pixar, like I said, just don't miss. So what the movie's about? Pretty much, you have this boy named Miguel who lives in a family that doesn't like music. The whole family generation is nothing but shoemakers because the great mom or grandmother, she was married to a musician. He left and decided to become a musician, wanted to follow his music career. And by him doing that, he left her and his daughter, but never came back. And the mom resented him for this even after death. So this whole resentment actually fell down into the tree where the daughter, who loved her dad but was kind of upset that she didn't get to see her and listen to what her mom did. Pretty much had a kid, and then that kid became a shoemaker, and then that kid became a shoemaker, and so on, so on, so on, until you get to Miguel in present day, and he doesn't want to be a shoemaker. He wants to be a musician, but his family hates music. And one of the greatest musicians of all time, who is Ernesto de la Cruz, he is idolized. People love him, and Miguel wants to be like him. And on the Day of the Dead, Miguel creates he creates like a shrine towards, I feel like it's been there before Day of the Dead, because everybody paid respect to their family on Day of the Dead. They create like I don't know the exact name of it, but it's like a little tribute to everybody in their family, and each picture is there. And each picture of their family member is there, which this actually allowed the dead to come over to the living world to see their family every that one time of the year. Well, Miguel made this giant one of Ernesto. I feel like it's been there for years or months at least, because there's so many things going on in there. Like, it wasn't just made in one day or a week. But he looks up to them. He idolized Ernesto, and he wants to be a musician just like Ernesto, but he doesn't want to betray his family until his family pretty much forces his hand and say, hey man, if you don't make music, you're going to be a shoemaker. And he's like, no, I'm a musician. And he runs off, and he wants to be in this competition to show the world that he can sing. And when he tried to get in the competition, his grandmother breaks his guitar, so he can't use his grandma's guitar. He decided to steal Ernesto's guitar and Ernesto's tombstone, or like his tomb area. He has like a whole tomb. It's not a tomb, I guess it's just a tomb that's pretty much built with his stuff in it. Well, Miguel takes the guitar, and by doing this he becomes cursed, and he is now in between the living world and the dead world, and he can cross over to the dead side, and he sees his whole family from generations, and he is convinced that Ernesto is his great grandfather, because the picture he found of his great grandmother and his grandmother, or I guess his great grandmother and his great grandmother, he finds this picture of them with a musician who has Ernesto's guitar. Ernesto, by the way, took that guitar from Miguel's great grandfather. Yes, 3 generations. 4 generations. It is, he had Miguel, his mother, his grandmother, his great grandmother, and his great grandmother. Yeah. So his great grandfather, Miguel meets in the afterworld, I'll say afterworld, in the afterlife. He meets him by mistake because he's trying to get to Ernesto. He believes Ernesto is his great grandfather, and he believes that he's the one who can get him back to the living world and allow him to be a musician, because he met his great grandmother, and she told him that, hey, you cannot go into the living world unless you give up music, because she hates music. His great grandmother believes music ruined everything, ruined her life, ruined everything. And what sucks is that his great grandmother loves music. She loves to sing, and Miguel hears this from her at one point when he goes through the main character trope or protagonist tropes of, I'm going to trust anybody, I'm going to do me, forget you guys, I'm going off and get this mission done by myself. That moment is in this movie. That's there. So when he does it, he does hear his great grandmother sing, who is Imelda. He hears her sing, and he's like, you can sing? And she's like, yeah. I don't hate music. It's not a life I want my family to live. And this movie is really good with that. This movie is really good about family dynamics and family traditions. And I love the fact that it builds on that. It builds on somebody who doesn't want to follow what their family footsteps does, but who wants to do his own thing. And his family believes that him doing his own thing is going to cause him shame and not a life worth living. But he like, I have to try this for myself. And this is an awesome movie that it does that. Really great. Now, throughout this journey in the afterlife, Miguel does meet Hector, who is his great grandfather, and he teams up with Hector. Hector wants to go to the living world, but he can't go to the living world because nobody remembers him, but only one person does, and he's trying to see that one person before it's too late. Because in the afterlife, if you are not remembered by anybody, you will die permanently. They call the final death. And Hector throughout this movie is on that time limit, and he's slowly dying. And by this movie, by that moment of time limit, I should say, or by that mention of the time limit, this movie has a time limit of sunset. The Day of the Dead is happening, so it's nighttime, and by sunset, if you don't get one more person remembered you for Hector, he will die. And it doesn't work with Miguel knowing him in the afterlife, because he met him in the afterlife. He had to meet him before that. So Miguel needs to get back to the living world also for himself, because if he stays in the afterlife, he will become a ghost forever, or he become dead forever. And he has to get one person to remember Hector, and that one person is his great grandmother, Coco. I'm gonna say Imelda, but it's his great great grandmother, but Coco. Coco needs to remember Hector, so Hector stays alive, and that Hector doesn't die, and then Miguel can go back to the living world with no regrets and nothing to hold him back and feeling sad. But the problem is, for Miguel to figure this out, he had to realize that Ernesto is a bad guy. Ernesto actually killed his great-great-grandfather to become the musician, and he's pretty much a fraud. And they figured this out, that the movie reveals it in such a great way that you have to watch it to really get it and get the scope of everything. And then that revelation of Hector and Miguel realizing they're relatives is really great. Really great. And also this whole movie is a cat and mouse game too, because Imelda and her kids are trying to hunt down Miguel to get him back to the present, so that Imelda, by the way, who is trapped in the afterworld or the afterlife, can go back to the real world as well, because Miguel breaks the picture that had her on the tribute. He actually bumps into it and breaks the glass, so Imelda's picture's not up, Hector's picture's not up, and they're both trapped in the afterlife. So it's kind of a little bit of a twister. So everybody has motivation to get Miguel back to the real world, and Miguel wants to meet his great-grandfather, and get his blessing to become a musician. Really great, really done, really well. It's so good. It's so good. And by the end of the movie, what happens is it revealed as Ernesto as a fraud. Hector realizes that he has his family. Imelda and Hector makes up because they learned that Ernesto poisoned and killed Hector, so that got resolved. And the reason why Imelda and Hector never crossed each other's path, because Imelda hated Hector. She hated him so much that she did not want to see his face. And no matter how many times he apologized for leaving, she's like, I don't want to hear it, until she found the truth and was like, oh, okay, it's not your fault. Yeah, I like that. I like how the movie hit those things, because the things I was thinking while watching, like, well, how come Hector and Imelda never crossed each other's path? The movie explains it. Well, how come Hector never learned the truth about Ernesto? The movie explains it. Oh, Hector and Miguel are related. Saw it coming. But the movie does it in a way where it's like not so cliche. I'm down with that. And on top of that, at the end of the movie, Miguel finally was able to get Hector to be a memory, finally get him to be, like, stay alive in the afterlife. I'm not going to explain how, but it's a very touching scene that I believe that everybody should watch, and it's really heartfelt. I'm like, good job, Pixar, good job. Now, the negative about this movie is that it is a Disney movie that does the same tropes that you've seen in all the previous movies of 2017. You have Miguel, the boy who has a dream, the boy who wants to be something that his family doesn't want him to be. You have that trope. Then you get the trope of Miguel getting into it with Hector, the guy who's trying to help him out, and getting into it with his dog, and going off on his own to do his own little adventure. You have that trope to realize that he was wrong, and that he shouldn't really screw over everybody and say, like, I'm sorry, I own this is my fault. You have that trope. And then you have the team up again after the sad moment of them realizing we're in this together. Teamwork makes the dream work. You have that moment, and then they all come together to stop the big bad guy, who I would say did not see coming. I did not see Ernesto as a bad guy. I didn't see it. I thought it was going to be Imelda or one of his family members who was going to be the bad guy, but they wasn't. It was the guy that he idolizes, which is also a nice little saying, a nice little mention or saying or symbolism that says, like, hey, not all your heroes should be put on this pedestal. Not all your heroes are these great people. They have flaws. Some could be crooks. So be careful who you idolize, and you shouldn't idolize people. Like I like that. I like that nod. Like your family's more important to you. Don't idolize anybody. You can have role models, but don't invest your life into that. I like that. I think that's a pretty cool touch on this movie, and I think the fact that, hey, family is important and family needs to stick together is a pretty cool thing too that this movie does. And on top of that, follow your dreams. Don't let nobody else hold you down. And give it a shot. You don't know if it might work out, but give it a shot. I do like how this movie uses 12-year-old boy named Miguel to do that. It was done pretty well. But as I was saying, it's some of the same things you see in all the other Disney movies. But it doesn't hurt my grade of this movie. This movie's still a great movie. It's still worth to watch. Look into characters and actors. So Anthony Gonzalez, who plays Miguel, thought he did a great job. You got Gael Garcia Bernal. I always mess somebody's name up every review. He plays Hector. Great job. Benjamin Bratt, who plays Ernesto de la Cruz. Great. Alana Ubach, who plays Mama Imelda. Great. Renee Victor, who plays Abuela. She did great too. And Abuela was actually the great-grandmother who, it's the grandmother, not the great-grandmother, the grandmother to Miguel, who was also an antagonist to him. She like the main person beginning the movie before it gets into the afterlife stuff. And the movie picks up after the afterlife stuff. The movie color changes. The design of it changes. It becomes more of a colorful movie. Heck, on that topic about setting and design, I wanted this world to be in Kingdom Hearts. You know how cool it would be to play in the world of Coco and Kingdom Hearts? Phenomenal. I know you got The Nightmare Before Christmas in that movie, in that video game series, but just imagine the world of Coco and Kingdom Hearts. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3 yet, so I don't know if it's actually there, but just imagine. It'd be so great. If Coco's not in Kingdom Hearts 3 and it'd be in Kingdom Hearts 4, make it happen. Square Enix and Disney, make it happen. Pixar, do it. And then, who else I want to talk about? That's pretty much it. Everybody else did great. And this movie has some laughs and it has some jokes in it. You're going to enjoy it. Like I already mentioned before, the setting was done really well. I believe it was some of the best design work I've seen in a Disney movie. Is the lighting, the tone, the colors of it, from the real world to the afterlife, and the design of characters. The artwork is just phenomenal. This movie is great. The music is great. Definitely is top notch. Friday night movie? Heck yes, it's a Friday night movie. You should watch this movie with your friends and family in grading time. I want to grade the movie Coco. 2017's Coco, a solid A. This movie is an A movie. I pretty much raved about it. The design, the artwork, the setting, the color, the message behind the movie is done really well. The voice acting is done really well. This movie is definitely an A. The only thing that keeps it from being an A+ for me is simply that I've seen these things in Disney movies and I kind of knew how the movie was going to set up. But it does have those touchy, heart-filling moments. It has a moment make you like, man, that's deep. Like, it has those moments. But you have that hero's journey. It's in this movie that you see in all the other Disney movies. So that gives it from an A+ to an A. Which 95%, you can't get mad at that. Can you? Anyway, what do you think if you saw the movie Coco? Other than that, thank you guys for watching this episode of Movie Breakdowns. Please put in the comments section and see you guys in the next episode, and keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episodes of Movie Breakdowns or Grind Towards Success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of Grind Towards Success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Keep being awesome.